James Symington, student bandmaster, military musician. Welcome to the Suffolk County Music Service Alumni Series. It's really great to have you with us, James. Thank you for sparing the time.
Well, thank you.
You are going to be episode 7 in our series. We have not spoken yet to a military musician, so I am really looking forward to our chat.
I can't really pinpoint a particular moment where I thought, snap, I'm going to be a musician to earn my money. But it could be a lot to do with the fact that my parents both play musical instruments, and that from an early age I was introduced to music and playing a musical instrument at a very young age. And so therefore, as I went through various lessons with teachers and ensembles with the county music service, I became a bit better, as one would. And I think it was a gradual decision to make that I'm actually quite good at this. I could actually pursue this as a career. There were two things actually I did want to mention. The first thing was that there was a point in my practicing, because I play the trumpet. Mm-hmm. There's a point where I was being kind of not forced to practice, but encouraged to practice by my parents, and then a point where I actually wanted to. And I do remember that happening.
That's really interesting.
Where actually, without being encouraged, I actually wanted to practice. And there was a moment when I thought, oh, I do enjoy this actually. And that's the first thing. And the second thing was that, of course, when you're at school and you're doing your GCSEs, you have to make a decision towards the end of that about where do I go next. Mm-hmm. Of course, university was something that I wanted to pursue after A-levels. And at that point, I need to make a decision. What direction do I go in? And for me, it was clear cut. I was all the decisions that had been happening in the previous 16 years had led me to a music degree.
Right.
The military. I definitely the music.
Okay.
Put me to the military.
Okay. But
well,
what?
I wouldn't say that always.
You wouldn't say that. Oh, okay.
When I joined the military, a lot, I was asked, what brought you to the military? How did you get here? And I'd say normally, a lot of the time, people join the military because their family did. Their father, mother was in the military as well, mm-hmm. Or the grandparents from the military or something. But I actually had no real connection family-wise to the military at all. I think we said before that it was the music that brought me to the military. So mm-hmm. When I did work experience, I was 16 at school. Mm-hmm. Lots of people went off to Asda or Tesco's or offices for different companies, and I went to the band of the parachute regiment for a week. I got in contact and I went and spent a week with them. I stayed with them. I stayed in accommodation where they went. I went on engagements with them, and I got to know some of the musicians, and that was my first sort of entrance into the military music, and it was really good. And I would encourage people to, if they're interested, to
absolutely. So was that somebody at school then that suggested to you that you could maybe try that?
You know what? It was my stepdad.
Your stepdad, okay.
Yeah, because he's a trumpet player, or was. Now he's a trombone player.
Okay.
And I think he always had an ambition when he was younger to be in the military, I think. And so I think when we were tossing ideas about whether we should what I could do, mm-hmm. was very keen that I could maybe pursue this, and it was his idea, really.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is absolutely fascinating. So because I don't know whether a lot of the students that will watch this would have already considered the military, and I agree with you entirely about this. The kind of familial link would always seem to me to have been a major driving factor in recruitment for the military.
Well, here's a key factor for you as well, before we go on, is that the Royal Corps of Army Music, which is the army. Obviously, there's the Marines, there's the Army, and there's the Royal Air Force. The Royal Corps of Army Music are the largest employed musicians in the UK. Mm-hmm. There are 750 musicians employed by the British Army, which is the largest, and they're all being paid, and they're all being paid to play music. So we'll go on. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that remains constant, obviously, as you continue to be military performer. And
Mhm.
do you see the military as your career now for the foreseeable future?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the key, one of the interesting things about the military is that you serve a set number of years.
Hmm.
So it's not particularly like I will serve until I retire. I'm actually on currently a 24-year contract, and that will end in however many years. And there's an end date for that to happen. It's not when I
Okay.
actually retire. It's actually an end date. There are various options to extend if necessary.
Yeah.
But that's the way that sort of military works, and the fact that we have these set contracts dates. So but yes, it's something I would like to pursue for as long as I
Cool.
can. You get loads, absolutely loads.
Great.
We train our musicians, so although you're expected to pass an audition to get in, there's what we call initial trade training, which happens after the basic training, and that is a training, which for us is music, and you have lessons with a professor of your instrument, and to get to a particular standard that needs the army requires you to be. And throughout your career, there's also different parts where you need to have more what we call CPD, career professional development.
Hmm.
There's opportunities across the whole time that you're in to do that, masterclasses, etc. Pop up. For instance, I organised for Mike Lovett to come into the band on one opportunity. He was very generous with his time, and he came to the band, and we did a trumpet sort of day with him, and
Okay.
we got the big band out, and we were doing big band trumpet amazing pieces. It was really good. So opportunities like that happen. I wouldn't say all the time, but they're very
Sure.
common to happen.
But it sounds to me like the actual music program is quite rich, and there are quite
Absolutely.
some nice variances. So you're not just playing marches.
No, no. But that is our bread and butter, and we do
Of course.
march, very well.
Of course.
No, everyone enjoys playing concerts, and I love playing the concerts, and uh, we do have that opportunity from time to time, and that's always very very rewarding when we do that. Um, yeah, and the music is there's a variety of music, and it does sometimes depend on what band you actually go to, because there's
Okay.
14 regular army bands
Okay.
in the
Would you
UK.
mind tell us a little bit about that? That would be interesting to hear.
Well, we're kind of spread across the UK.
Hmm.
Um, they are, symphonic wind bands. We do have brass bands as well,
Hmm.
string orchestra, and so there are 5 foot guards bands. They're based in London, and they're the ones with the fluffy hats. So they're quite iconic. But we have a band on horseback,
Hmm.
the band of the House of Cavalry, and the other bands are spread across the country, what we call regional bands, which is the band I used to be in. I used to be in a band called British Army Band Colchester,
Okay.
obviously based in Colchester, and yeah, but symphonic wind bands really.
Great.
I mean, I don't believe that it has much to do with luck,
Okay.
because I think you make your own opportunities.
Hmm.
I suppose maybe in the civilian world, when you're freelancing, it's sometimes it's who you know, and did you meet that person on the right day? Were you in the right place at the right time? But with the army, it's a clear-cut audition process. Anyone can audition,
Hmm.
and you either pass or you fail. And then once you're in, you do make your own opportunities. It's not who you know. It's not not was I in the right place at the right time. It is actually, if you're good, you will have more opportunities, and you'll be promoted, and you'll have a wonderful career. So don't particularly believe it has much to do with luck.
Okay.
The key thing for the army is that sometimes, well, I currently work away from home.
Okay.
So Monday to Friday I work here, and I go home weekends and see my family. So the sacrifice I suppose I'm giving up there is time.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but on this occasion I've been posted somewhere for 2 years.
Okay.
This course that I'm doing now, and it's not possible for my family to come with me on this occasion. But that's, I guess, the main sacrifice that I think lots of our musicians do give up, is time with their family, because they are away, and that's I think a common military thing that people are
Sure.
posted apart. But yeah, that was probably the key sacrifice.
And your contract, did you say, was 2 years, the one that you're on at the moment?
The
Is it
contract,
down in Surrey? Sorry, you're posting, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of your posting, do you have any concept of where you might be posted next?
Yeah, we have preferences.
Okay.
So I'm actually on a different course than most musicians. I'm on a student bandmaster course.
Yep.
Which is a course to become a bandmaster of a band. So I'll leave this course and become a bandmaster, and so I'll get preferences of where I'd like to go, and the army will take those into account and then decide, where we need to go.
Sure.
It could be those places, but yeah, that's the sort of way it works. As I've, I think, gone on through my career, and maybe before, confidence has grown.
Okay.
I wouldn't always describe myself as shy before, but I was a bit shy, I suppose.
Okay. Sure.
In talking to people, in being able to, express my opinion or ask questions. And I think that's a key thing. It's actually, it's hard to say, it's highly hard to work on confidence, but you kind of have, I felt like I forced myself to work on confidence to a point where I don't need to worry anymore.
Okay.
I used to work in a pub actually before I joined the military, and that's actually really helpful, because sometimes when you work in a pub, you are forced to have conversations with people, with strangers you don't know. And I think that really helped, actually, talking, getting to know people and actually having a conversation with people helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a theme that's come up time and time again from all the alumni I've spoken to, which is the need to be socially capable.
Music's a social thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
You can, but I play in the symphonic wind band, which is 45 people, so you have to be able to socialize.
Of course.
I think it's grown.
Okay.
I think with every new piece that you hear, there's more and more passion and love for the art.
Terrific.
I think, I remember about the times when I was playing with the county wind band, Suffolk County Wind Band, and playing music, probably, being introduced to that music and actually loving it, and coming into the military, which is very similar actually to the music service wind band, and being introduced to more music and liking things and not liking others, but actually loving other pieces. And I think as you are introduced to more music, it grows more and more. So I think it's just been
awesome.
Who inspires me? Who inspires me
in any way, personally or as a musician?
I think the list is endless, but I mean, I've immediately thought about my parents.
Okay.
Hardworking.
Yeah.
Dedicated to music, even though they're not musicians, professional musicians themselves. I could rattle off trumpet players that inspire me,
of course,
or that I aspire to be. Bernstein or. If they want to become into the military, I would say apply today. It's very easy. Google the Royal Corps Ryan Music, and there are, the website will send you the right direction if you would like to join. Obviously, standard is quite key. So to pass the audition, there needs to be good. So it depends on what level that person is.
Okay.
And my advice would be, make sure you get the basics right. I think basics are really key. I think a lot of people push over the basics. Get the basics right and move on from there and start being practical. With the military also, we require to be fit individuals. We are soldiers, which is key. So keep that in mind when you want to be a military musician, that it is a military musician, not just a musician. So if you're not fit, I would maybe start looking into how to become fit, either joining gyms or getting a PTI, or talking to your friends, or joining a sports team, or whatever. Being able to become fit would help. And I guess the other thing is to say that find out more information, ask questions.
Okay.
I think when I was joining the military, I was actually after university, and I was 21, 22. I was at an age where I was like, well, I'm going to ask every question. I'm going to ask about the housing situation. Where do I live? How, what can I remember asking about questions about housing, and someone said to me, you know what, we've never been asked that before. They go, that's really key. Where am I going to live? What is it like? Can I see the rooms or the houses we're going to live in? That's where you're going to spend half your time. So, what does it look like? So I think ask questions as much as you can to get all the information you need to make a good decision about what you want to do next. But also remember that people have these myths about the army that probably maybe don't exist or do exist, and so find out if they're true. And also you're not dedicating your whole life to the military if you were to join, so don't think that's debugging a myth there straight away.
Okay, yeah, great. And just a follow-up question just about your specific route. How much time as you're on the student bandmaster course, how much time do you still get to play?
Very little.
Okay. Yeah, well, that seems logical to me.
Some of my colleagues on the course as well, they play in brass bands, which is a good way to keep playing. But I'm finding the course lots of work academically, and so it's not very much, but there is still time. There is time.
You're kind of surrounded by music all the time, but you just don't actually get to do much playing.
Yeah, and we're focusing on a course that is trying to make us a conductor. Yeah. So that's where the effort is.
Sure. Yeah. That's fantastic, James. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Well, thank you.
We reached the end of our questions. It was really fascinating to hear about it. And yeah, we'll look forward to speaking again in the future, I hope.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah.
Cheers, James. Best wishes.
Thank you.